Hi, I'm Salvas, and in this series of videos I want to show you some of my character builds in Path of Exile. Today I want to show you my cast on Critical Strike Windripper Scion. So it's one of my more expensive builds. Let's have a look at my gear. The most expensive part is of course Windripper 6-linked. And it's really the best in slot item for this build because of the high critical strike chance and the high attack speed per second, and the quantity and rarity of dropped items is also a really nice bonus. So what else do we have here? I'm wearing a rat's nest for critical strike chance and attack speed. Basically same reasons I'm using a Windripper. Movement speed is also great. I love to run fast. I guess you're expecting MacLeod virtuosities here, but no, I'm using rare gloves. This is for one part for life and resistances, and the other thing is that I really need accuracy, and MacLeods don't have accuracy, so I choose rare gloves with a high accuracy roll. My rings are also for accuracy and resist and life, and of course both are diamond rings for the critical strike chance. I also need to cap some of my stat needs, as I need high intelligence for the spells I'm casting with the Windripper, and I don't get much intelligence from my tree. Same goes for my amulet. I need it for the intelligence, and of course the spell damage and critical strike chance is really nice. Crit multiplier would be great on the amulet. I'm using a series step as my boots for the additional spell dodge chance and also for the high evasion rating and life. My belt is mainly there to boost my life. That was the main focus for the belt, and also the strength comes in handy as I need some strength for reduced mana and purity of fire. So the quiver, you want critical strike chance, critical strike multiplier, and of course life, and maybe if you're missing resists from your other gear, you can cap some with the quiver. Then you want a high evasion chest with life and enough resists to cap what you need. So let's have a look at my gem setups. In my bow I have a barrage cast on critical strike, greater multiple projectiles, and 3 spells. All of them are projectile spells, so they all will profit from greater multiple projectiles. While greater multiple projectiles also gives more projectiles to my barrage, so I can trigger more spell casts per attack. Spells are Arctic Breath, Ice Spear and Fireball. That's a pretty standard setup for a cast on critical strike if you're using projectile spells, and I feel it's working great, and also it's looking really great. My overall setup is in my gloves, running reduced mana, purity of lightning, purity of fire and a herald of ice. Purity of lightning and purity of fire give me maximum resist for more defense, and also make capping or over capping your resists much more achievable. Herald of Ice is just there for the additional damage to the spells. You can also use Herald of Thunder As you may have noticed, I'm not using Power Charge and Critical Strike in my main attack setup, and rather use a third spell. Still, I would like to have some power charges, even if my critical strike chance is pretty high even without power charges. But of course, capping it to 95% is always a great thing, and with 4 power charges I have my critical strike chance capped. And to get some charges I have a split arrow, power charge and critical, curse on hit, assassin's mark. And while I'm mapping, it's really enough to just curse every second pack with a split arrow before I shoot my barrage at them. And I have no problems to keep up my charges. Why am I not using a Herald of Thunder curse on hit? That's because I feel like you mostly really need your power charges in boss fights, and with a curse on hit, Assassin's Mark as your source of power charges, you can't get your power charges in fights with a single enemy with very high hit points, like boss fights. And my setup with split arrow and power charge and crit can still generate power charges in those situations, and this is why I choose to run this over an auto curse setup. On my boots I have a pretty typical cast 1 damage taken setup. I've just added an Assassin's Mark to help out with cursing. In my chest I have a portal and a blink arrow, and then I have a falling. This one is quite important. I'm running Val Haste, Val Grace and another Val Grace with increased duration. It's a really nice setup. It needs of course some time to get it up and running, because when you're running more than one Val skill, the souls are shared between the Val skills, so it takes some time till they are all ready to use. But this setup is mostly for boss fights, and these occur at the end of maps, and it's no problem to get them all charged up until you meet the boss. So let's have a look at the skill tree. I'm starting as Scion, but as you can see from the tree, it would be perhaps even better to start as a Shadow. As Scion start, I choose spell damage with this pitiful 6% spell damage notes, but it's better than nothing, I guess. We then have this quite nice note here. Proceed to take all the critical strike chance we can get from the shadow area here. Also the accuracy and critical strike chance is quite important. This note is also very nice for the attack speed. The main focus is really to just get as much attack speed, spell damage and critical strike chance as possible, and also get as much life as possible while doing that. On the defensive option we have chosen acrobatics and face acrobatics. Control is passed down here because we get many nice clusters along the way, as Heartseeker, AQT, Herbalism, and we also want to grab Honor's Guile, of course. Then this bow cluster here and over here for really nice critical strike chance. And King of the Hill is pretty important as a defensive option, because with a knockback on critical strike, you will basically never get in contact with melee enemies, because you will knock them back all the time with your high attack speed and high hits per attack. We travel in here to the duelist area, mainly because of fury bolts, because we need accuracy, and projectile damage will boost all our spells, and we also need strength, as we don't get much strength from elsewhere. Art of the Gladiator also boosts accuracy rating by a great amount, and we can grab some good life notes here. Then travel up here to grab all the life we can get in the Scion life wheel. And yeah, that's basically it. You can see it's pretty straightforward, just all the critical strike chance, accuracy you can get, and grab along all the things that boost your spells, like this projectile damage nodes, elemental damage nodes, spell damage nodes, and really don't forget to take enough life. This tree has quite a good amount of life. One notable thing about this build is that I can switch it to a full magic find setup, and this is also a magic find setup that is able to clear hard map mods on its own, and even can run high level maps alone. So we're getting quantity and rarity from the Windripper, and Red's Nest also does have rarity on it. And I'm switching to aura sizes and gold worms, and I switch my rings to rings with rarity on it. This one has already rarity on it, so I keep this one, and the amulet is also switched for amulet with high item rarity. I recently acquired Demigod's Bounty, and as it happens, this is just enough to cap my resists, and so I can use this too. And also you can use a divination distillate. I'm using tornado shot in this setup. This is because it uses more mana than a barrage, and so it's easier for me to get the full duration from the divination distillate. For the magic find setup, I also switch around the spells. I'm using Arc and Ice Spear, and in the last slot I use an item rarity. Don't have space for an item quantity gem, and to compensate for that I'm using Herald of Thunder in my gold worms, and it's linked to item rarity, item quantity, and culling strike. So most of the time I will get my enemies culled from the Herald of Thunder, and the quantity and rarity from the Windripper is also applied if the Herald of Thunder culls them, because it's a global bonus. It doesn't say slain by this weapon or something, so it's a global bonus, and with Arc and Ice Spear I will freeze and shock most of my enemies, so I'm getting this bonus basically all the time. So this was my cast and crit Windripper build. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking the video and subscribing the channel. If you have any questions regarding this build or other builds or general Path of Exile topics, feel free to ask in the comment section of this video or on my Path of Exile stream. You You can find a link to the stream in the video description. If you want a more detailed look at the gear I'm using, you can also refer to the link in the video description where you can find the gear of all my builds. Thanks for watching!